Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to see another example of a data pipeline. This time we are going to download data from a public API, which is the CocktailDB API, and it contains data for all kinds of cocktails, and since it's a public API, you don't need authentication. We are going to create a data pipeline, and we need to download this data from a public API. Now, usually when you create data pipelines, you gather data from various different sources. One of those sources could be an API. Usually it's a private API and you need to use authentication, but just for this example, we are going to use a public API. We are going to use Asyncio for improved performance, and we are going to hit the API asynchronously and save the data into JSON files into our local directory. Gathering the data would be part 1 of this example, and now without spending much time on intros, let's start coding. So this is the public API. It's https://www.thecocktaildb.com/API/JSON, etc. And here at the end is the ID of the cocktail you want to download the data from. Of course, we're going to download data for multiple cocktails, not just one, and that's why we're going to use Asyncio. So the first step is to import the Asyncio library, and let's say if name equals main, then let's say we have a list of IDs that cocktail. This is a list of cocktail IDs. Here, for example, we have 11001 again. Let's create a few IDs here. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, that's 7, and then 8 and 9. Okay. And this is the list of IDs, and now we need to create here we need to create the URLs, so the complete URLs. That would be using list comprehension. Let's say the URL would be this one up to the equals sign, and then we are going to do this one, URLs list comprehension for ID in IDs, then URL slash we have to add the string at the end, and that could be the ID here, and this could provide URLs like that for all the numbers here. So a URL for 11001, 11002, 003, etc. The next thing we need to do is to call the main function. So we need to say call main. We need to pass the URLs, and yeah, that's it. But I forgot, I'm using Windows, so when you are using Asyncio on Windows, you have to set the event loop policy. So that would be Asyncio to set event loop policy, and then would be Asyncio.Windows event loop policy, Windows selector event loop policy, and okay, we need to use Asyncio.Run to run our main function. That would be our initial step in our data pipeline, and let's specify the main function here, and that we need to pass the URLs, of course. Now we need to create a Asyncio session, and that would be like that: async with a IO HTTP. We need first, of course, we need to import this library, import AIO HTTP and .client session as session, and we need to create Asyncio tasks here, and we can do that with list comprehension for URL in URLs. Let's define a function here, a function that would give us the that we would implement the request, and here we need to specify the URL and the session, and that would be a sync function. Of course, here that would be a sync function as well, so I forgot about that. We are using Asyncio, and then here in the list comprehension we are going to do that Asyncio dot create task, and we need to pass the function name, get page, and the parameters would be URL and session. Of course, that here in the get page we need to create a request, a Asyncio request, so that would be a sync with session get URL, of course, and it's good to use SSL false because we don't have any authentication method, as request, and then we need the result here equals rec.json. Results here, and let's print the result, and here we need to call the getPage function, of course, and since we are using Asyncio, we need to use the await keyword in order to wait for the function to run, to complete, and that would be await. So we need to do, in order to run the tasks in Asyncio, we need to use asyncio.gather, and this is how we pass a list of tasks instead of just run one individual task. So we need to unpack all the tasks here and await in order for it to actually run it and to wait for it to complete its execution. Now, if you want to, let's say, run only one task in Asyncio, you can create a task like that and asyncio.create task, right, like we did, and we pass the get page exactly like we have in the list comprehension, and then you just use the await keyword and task, and it's going to execute that task, right? But we want to execute multiple tasks simultaneously at the same time, concurrently actually, not simultaneously but concurrently, and then we're going to execute the get page function, use a get request and get the response from this API and print the results. Oh, sorry, you have to also use the await keyword here because we have to await for the API to return back, and then we print the results. Now, if let's run this, save and run. Here you get all the data here of this API. We have drinks and we have actually a dictionary. The first key is drinks. Inside we have a list and we have the ID drink, the string drink, margarita, drink alternate, none, string tags, IBA, string glass, cocktail glass, all these attributes, right? Now let's save the data into our local directory, and we can do that by creating another async function, and that would be async def write data, and we need the JSON, of course, the results here, results, and now we need to do async with IO files. Yeah, we need to import the Asyncio for the files. That would be AO files, and here we do dot open. We need to specify the directory. Let me copy that from my notes. But here, let's say at the end, the file name, we want the file name to be the name of the ID name of the drink. So here, as you can see, every dictionary has an ID, drink ID. Here it's 11007, right? And we want to create a JSON with that name because we want to know which JSON belongs to which drink, right? We can do that by getting the ID from the dictionary. So that would mean, so results is actually a list of dictionaries. So you are going to get drinks, the attribute drinks, which is the first one here in the dictionary, the first key. Then you need to get the first element because it's a list, right? So here the values are inside the list, so you need to get the first element, which is the first list, and then from here you can take the ID drink, and if we print that, let me comment that out. If we print that, you will see that we will get the ID for each dictionary, for each drink. And here we need to await for the right data function, and sorry, that would be result, and save and run. And you see here we have all the IDs for each drink, and they are not sequentially, right? Because we are using Asyncio and we run the code concurrently, so that hits the API in different order, not in a sequential order. And here we get this is the way that you get the data inside the dictionary and inside the list. And we're going to use this part here as the file name of the JSON. So if we comment that in again, and here if we use the f string and open brackets and paste that, we need to specify the mode here, so that would be comma mode, and that would be right because we're going to write into a file as f, and here we can do f.write and the results, which is the JSON result actually, but also I forgot, when we specify the directory at the end we need to specify the extension of the file, otherwise it would be just file extension, but we want a JSON here. So if we write .json, it's going to give us a JSON. So if we save that and run it, what happens? There is an issue. There is an issue because there are no files in our directory because we haven't awaited the right function. Here, remember, when you use Asyncio, you have to use the await keyword in order for it to wait to finish. Otherwise it's not going to complete what it's supposed to do. Now, if we save that again, we got another error, and it's a very typical error. As you can see, right argument must be string, not dictionary, because here this result is a dictionary, it's a Python dictionary, but when you use the right function here, you need to use a string. So how can we keep the data into JSON format, but also in string as a string, and we can do that by using the JSON library JSON.dumps, and we need to use the result. Of course, we have to import the JSON library here. Now, JSON.dumps converts a dictionary into string, and when you want to convert a string into dictionary, you use JSON loads here. But now loads. But now we want to convert the dictionary into string, and JSON dumps would do that. And if we save and run, we are going to save all these dictionaries for its drink as a JSON file in our local directory. Let me prove that to you. Let me open a few JSON files, open, and you will see them right at the top. You see here, this is a JSON string, it's drink, and then we have a list, and the drink ID, the drink string, all these attributes that we downloaded from the API, string video, the URL on the YouTube, string category, and all those attributes, string instructions, etc., etc. And that's the first one. This is another one, and that's another one. So we have multiple of those JSON strings, and each one represents one cocktail. This is how you use Asyncio to hit an API, download data concurrently, and save the data into a local directory. This is just the initial step of a data pipeline. In the next video, we are going to use PySpark to load the data into a data frame, perform some transformations, and store the transformed data into the database. If you like the video, click the like button and subscribe to the channel.